Hi, Jenna. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Reilly. Thanks for having me.
I'm so pumped that you are here. I feel like it's been 10 years ago since we did our dietetic internship together, but I'm so excited to have you on. We're going to chat all about some happening nutrition topics today. So I would love for you to introduce yourself and tell everybody who's listening a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here and chatting with you again. My name is Jenna. I'm also a registered dietitian. I met Reilly when we were dietetic interns at the University of Nevada in Las Vegas. So you'll probably hear us chat a lot about how we shared a closet for several months doing the good work that dietetic interns do. I've worked in a couple of different settings since then. I don't work in the sports world like Reilly does, but I've worked with lots of different populations, lots of different ages, and excited to share my nutrition insight with Reilly today.
It feels like forever ago when we were in our little closet, and I know that we always love to kind of just chat about all the crazy nutrition shenanigans that are happening in the world. I know it's so annoying, but I always say that it's great because it gives us good job security. But I thought, let's have you on and we can chat about some stuff just like we did in our little closet when we were dietetic interns.
I feel like we always had something to chat about, whether that be, you were teaching me about tart cherry juice, or we were talking through how the heart pumps blood. There were so many different conversations going on there, some definitely not related to nutrition as well. We would just kind of riff off of one another through the hours that we would spend at the hospital together. But great memories. I look back and I think about it and I'm like, man, that was such a challenging time for me, but I have such great memories. And I think a lot of that has to do with you. You think about people make a big difference.
Do you still have your purple scrubs?
No, I got rid of them. Do you have yours?
It was so great though that we could wear scrubs because by the end of the internship, we were just wearing scrubs every single day because we were working 12-hour days, getting in at 6 a.m.
I know. I think that at the beginning we were both like, okay, our goal is to wear professional clothing a certain number of days of the week. And then by the end it was like, yep, I washed my scrubs again last night so I could wear them today.
For people who are listening, if you're unfamiliar what the dietetic internship is, it's basically the residency program, I would say, that dietitians have to go through. And that's where Jenna and I met each other. She's my dietetic intern BFF. I don't think I would have survived, honestly, without her. The poor girl, she was stuck with me for 7 months every single day.
Was it 7 or 8 technically?
I guess time flies when you're having fun.
No. Apparently it does. It didn't feel like it was flying though during the internship. I think it's the law of dietetic interns that you must have at least one catastrophic car incident during the internship because like Reilly said, if you're unfamiliar with the internship, it's unpaid. So you kind of have to make ends meet the best way that you can.
Yes. I always tell athletes, my budget for the week for groceries was, I'm not exaggerating when I say it was $30 a week. Mm-hmm. I remember we used to be able to go to the cafeteria, buffet at lunch, and I would just, scoop cottage cheese, into my container because I was like, I need protein and I can't afford it.
I remember us doing that, and I think it was you taught me cottage cheese, rice, and salsa mixed together was a bomb dish that we pretty much survived on. That and Sprouts catalog ads for sales was Tuesdays. We'd be like, oh, it's grocery shopping day.
And look how far we've come. Now we're recording a podcast. Who would have thought? So we're gonna chat about some things that are happening right now.
One of the things that I keep seeing is the term almond mom. Reilly, thoughts on the term almond mom and what that means to you?
AKA Gwenyth Paltrow? I feel like Gwyneth has been on our radar for a while as dietitians. Most recently, she was on a podcast talking about what she was eating during the day. I think it was coffee for breakfast, bone broth for lunch, and then veggies for dinner.
I feel like for a while she's been in the news as far as on a dietitian's radar, maybe talking about adding lemon juice to alkaline water or a couple different other things that she's done throughout the years that may raise some questions, especially for a sports dietitian. And thinking in the terms of fueling, Reilly, what do you think about her fueling?
As dietitians, we know that every single person's going to be different, right? Like everybody has their own plan that works, great for them. Even when you're working with athletes who are in the same position, the same team, same age, their fueling plans are going to look different. I can't come after Gwen saying that what she's doing is not working for her because I don't know. I don't know her. I don't know her plan. But I can tell you, based off of the science and research that I've done, that's drastic underfueling, and that's setting a really bad precedent if young athletes, professional athletes, college athletes are looking to her for guidance. That's setting a really, really dangerous precedent. I always see this on social media that like, why are we recommending 1,200 calories? That's like the needs of a toddler. But that's not even 1,200 calories. And when you look at athletes, I mean, they need double or even triple that 1,200 calories. I think it's really hard when a celebrity comes out and like shares her fueling plan because so many young athletes, so many people who are looking for nutrition advice, maybe use those people as the experts, and it sets a really dangerous precedent.
I completely agree with you. Even not having a sports background like you, our body needs a lot of fuel. So regardless of if you're an athlete or not, and you look to Gwenyth Paltrow for nutrition advice, it can kind of be a dangerous thing. And I agree with you too. Like, we don't know her specific needs, obviously. And we also don't know if she's got any type of food intolerances or allergies, so she has to avoid certain foods. We don't know her medical history. But just purely looking at it from a surface level of, is this enough fuel to sustain life for someone, kind of gets a little bit dicey.
And I think one of the most upsetting things about the story is she also came out later and talked about how what she recalled was incorrect and she's just like us because she eats French fries. And like, what is a Gwen Paltrow, like, what does a French fry look for you? Like, And
Right.
then it's like, now you've labeled French fries as bad things.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really scary if this information gets to the wrong people.
Oh, yeah.
I'm waiting to see the bone broth trend now. But I think it just also shows there's so much conflicting nutrition advice. If you type in coffee right now on Instagram, you see Gwyneth Paltrow only eating coffee for breakfast, and then you see the other side of the spectrum where people are like, you can't have coffee for at least 90 minutes until after you've woken up because it's horrible for your hormones. So now people are just like so confused on what to do.
You hit on a big thing there. The world of nutrition can be so confusing. You've got people, celebrities sharing their knowledge. It's easy to look up things about nutrition and make your own conclusions about what's best for you. And it's also something that we all do. We all eat, and we're all interested in how to eat best for our body.
Yeah, I think just at the end of the day, you have to really be careful to surround yourself too by people who are providing the correct information.
Like a dietitian. It's also dangerous too because like in today's diet culture, beauty standards, like she's looked at as someone that is a beauty icon, and we want to mimic what is beautiful. And so if that means that we follow exactly what she does, expecting that that's going to then look the same for us, that's an unrealistic expectation too, since just like you said, like you have players that might play the same position, but they're going to have different needs. Even if you and I ate the exact same thing every day, we wouldn't have the same look. We wouldn't have the same experience with what that was like because we have different needs. It's never a good idea to look at someone else's fueling plan and just adapt that as your own simply based off of the idea that that could look like that for you.
Exactly. And on a lighter note, to kind of bring light to this topic, I followed this account on Instagram. He's also on TikTok, and he's just absolutely amazing. I started following him because he does like this series called Gay Science, which is, again, his content is just amazing. And he's doing a series right now on would this food kill Gwyneth Paltrow?
Did he show the craft single?
It is so good. And he showed like the cookie with those cookies from the grocery store that have like the thick layer of icing that are like so good, but if you eat more than one, you like start to feel sick. He's
Yeah,
like,
the
she would
sugar
not.
coma is real.
Like, she would not survive. And I was crying after I saw him.
You have to get a good laugh out of it. You know, and I hope that Gwyneth is fueling herself for her body type.
Exactly. And girl, like, she looks amazing. We're
yeah.
supporting women around here, but just keep what you're eating to yourself.
Exactly. Like that's a personal thing between you and your dietitian. Maybe don't share it with, oh, I don't know, your millions of followers. But yes, she does look amazing. Good for her. Okay, what other hot topics do you see come up often with athletes?
Celebrities are really pushing the space right now. Like, I think we're seeing a lot of people get into the nutrition space that are celebrities. Something that I'm seeing right now a lot of is this new sports drink. It's called Prime Hydration, I think. I don't know if you've seen it, but I remember Robbie and I were watching Premier League soccer, which is the soccer league over in England, and I kept seeing like advertisements for Prime, 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 and then I saw it was Super Bowl, and then I like see it at the grocery store, and now I'm like yelling at Robbie, like when we're at the grocery store, I'm like, look at this shenanigan, like what is this? Like hydration, especially right now as it's getting warmer. I don't know if you've seen the Prime Energy or the Prime Sports drink.
Yeah, they're like at every end cap of the grocery stores here. I've seen that a lot. I feel like the popular one is like it looks like those popsicles we had as kids.
Oh, the rocket ship popsicles. Like they have they have the red, white, and blue. You eat them on the 4th of July. They're delicious.
Those exactly. I feel like that is what I associate. I'm sure that there are other flavors, but like that's what I associate when I think of like the Prime energy drinks.
That is so crazy. I've only seen the orange ones at my grocery store. I'm not gonna lie though, that like red, white, and blue packaging like makes me kind of want to buy one, but I just know it is not like what is happening. I think it's so interesting that we have so many like rules around food, and we have so many, I mean, we know this as dietitians, like we have regulations on what we can call things, but I don't think that there's any regulation on the name sports drink. Even when you look at this like Prime drink, it looks amazing. I mean, it looks so good. Like that packaging is just so good.
It's clever marketing, right?
No.
Especially for us like 90s kids, like I feel like that's what we grew up on in the summertime. Even for me, I'm like, wow, I wonder if that like will be that nostalgic taste, kind of like that same part of your brain that's activated when you want, chicken noodle soup when you don't feel good. I wonder if that tastes similar to that. But I can imagine too, working with athletes, you hear this way more as far as if that's a good option for them and why it's not. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so it goes back to the marketing behind these things is so good. So you have athletes out there who are trying to do whatever they can to get that next edge, right? So you have athletes at all levels. They see, wow, this new sports product, it's a sports drink. I should be drinking it to help with my hydration. So when we look at sports drinks, I always like to break it down into like 3 main categories. So when we look at a sports drink, we have the fluid, right? You need that in a sports drink because you need to replenish the fluid that's lost. So that's one of the main components. Then you're going to have the carbohydrates, and then you're going to have your electrolytes. You need the carbohydrates in a sports drink because they replenish any glycogen that you expended when you were training. At high intensity work, you burn stored carbohydrates in your muscles for fuel and for energy. We only have a limited amount of energy or stored carbohydrate in our body at one time, so you need to replenish that. So having those carbohydrates in a sports drink is going to provide basically what people call sometimes essential energy. So you need the carbohydrate. The carbohydrate is also extra credit because it's going to help you absorb the electrolytes faster. So carbohydrates will pair and bind with sodium, and then your body can absorb that even faster. And the topic of sodium, that's the third component because you need electrolytes, specifically sodium, to be replenished after your training because sodium is the main electrolyte that you lose in your sweat. So 95% of the electrolytes in your sweat that are lost are sodium. So you need sodium in a sports drink. So when you look at like a Prime sports drink, it has the fluid covered, right? There's fluid in there. Unfortunately, it really doesn't have any carbohydrate or any sugar, so it's not really fulfilling that component. And then there's also that electrolyte component, and there's probably, I think, like 40 milligrams of sodium in the Prime sports drink. The only thing that the Prime sports drink is actually fulfilling of those three components is the fluid part.
We often see these things and we think, oh, like I want to have a lower calorie option or I want to avoid a lot of sugar. And in reality, especially for athletes, it's so important for them to get that quick carbohydrate for their game, their training, because they need it for energy. What recommendations like do you typically give away from something like the Prime Energy drink towards a different kind? Do you typically like recommend Gatorades, Powerades?
I think Gatorade is a good option because it does have the sodium, the fluid, and the carbohydrate in it. Mm-hmm. I do think, though, that it's a little bit higher in carbohydrate and a little bit lower in sodium. So usually if I'm recommending Gatorade, it's for somebody who really needs a lot of that carbohydrate replenishment as well. I really like a lot of like powders, like Drip Drop, Liquid IV. Those are sodium and carbohydrate, but then you add it to fluid. So now we have all three of those components. Those are much better options than like a Prime or a Body Armor, which is also really popular. They're both coconut water based actually, so they're very similar. If you like the taste, it's going to help with fluid replenishment, but do you need to spend like $4 or $5 on it when you could just buy water for fluid?
So a great one if you want to feel nostalgic and enjoy a red, white, and blue popsicle flavored drink. But really that's all that this is just a drink that's marketed really, really well. So kudos again to the marketing team. You know, is it necessary to help you with your performance?
I think I get probably like maybe 10 questions on Instagram a week about like sparkling water. It's like the same thing. Like it's still a fluid. It's a little less hydrating than water, but like it's still fluid. And if you're somebody who struggles, like me, with drinking water because you get sick of it, incorporating some of these things into your fueling plan or into your daily routine is not a bad thing. I just really want people, and I know that you're the same way, to understand like why we're doing things. Like we're not just drinking Prime because it's a great sports drink and it's replenishing all of our electrolytes and replenishing all of our carbohydrates. Like, no, you're just drinking it because you like the taste of it and you maybe need something else besides water because you're sick of water.
That makes me think a lot about like our time in Las Vegas and how chronically dehydrated we felt all the time. So we were always looking for different ways to find water and make it more fun. Unfortunately for me, that turned a lot into coffee. And they had a coffee machine there and it had a stupid amount of creamer in it.
We drink so much coffee. I totally forgot about that and I'm like crying right now because I forgot how much coffee we drank.
2:00 every day and I feel like I'd like look at you and be like, is it time for a coffee break?
We would like go down the stairs in our little purple scrubs.
Yep. I think I got mine on Amazon for $12.
I'm gonna have to get some scrubs and just wear them around my home office to reminisce.
Yeah, but get the nice ones now, you know? Not the $12 scratchy ones from Amazon that may or may have not been a little bit too see-through.
They were like thick though, I felt like thick and see-through at the same time if that was even possible. And it's actually very impressive that somebody could come up with something that was like that.
Having to get there so early and having to do clinical things all day long, the last thing I wanted to do was like pair a cute pair of professional pants with a sweater.
Yes, especially when it's 125 degrees out.
Mm-hmm. And then like your car doesn't have air conditioning or something weird like that. I just remember, I can't remember if we were on our way to the hospital or if we were on our way to like do something fun on a very rare day off. You texted me when you were on your way to my apartment. We lived so close, so you were like 2 minutes away. And you were like, I think I have a flat tire. And you showed up and your tire was just shredded.
You changed my tire in your apartment parking lot. I forgot about that.
Yes.
I was mad.
I was like, we're home free. We've gotten over the horrible car accident or car incident for the internship. And then lo and behold, I was on my way to my rotation in North Las Vegas and my car broke down. For any RDs to be listening, you will get through this.
Yeah, and we just like totally talked people out of becoming a dietitian, but it's actually really cool. Dietetic internship, you just got to do your time. But
Yeah, it's worth it. It's all worth it. And in the end, you look back and you're like, wow, I made some great friends out of that. I had some good mentors out of that. I had a good experience. Kind of thinking about athletes and their need for hydration, I'm going to segue this into the big hot topic right now, which is March Madness, and seeing high performing athletes play games back to back. What's your take as the professional sports dietitian in the room as far as like hydration, fueling for like tournaments, like big things like that? Also, like if you were curious, my bracket is shot. So I really needed UCLA last night.
I cannot believe I didn't stay up to watch the game, but I cannot believe that like last point shot. I feel like this happened to them last year.
Did they lose to like in like the finals or something? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't believe that. I feel like the tournament has been like actually like really interesting this year.
Mm-hmm.
I was joking with the Robbie where I was like, "Are you just gonna watch sports all night? Like, I'm not intrigued by this. Like, I'm not interested. I love sports. I just like work in sports. So sometimes I'm like, don't need to look at a piece of food. I don't need to look at a sport. Like, I just need to like do some like Vanderpump or something. Like, there's shenanigans going on right now." He was like, "No, we should just like watch this game." It was like the Farley Dickinson and
Yep.
Purdue game. He's like, "Okay, we just need to watch this," and I was like, "Ah, whatever." But it was like wild. Like that was wild. It's been really interesting. Do you have any teams left like in the Final Four?
I have Alabama and Houston. Because I'll be thoroughly honest, like I don't follow college basketball, so me filling out a bracket was just like looking at it and being like, okay, that's the one seed. I'm gonna take them further. And then also any teams that I like had somewhat of a personal connection to. Like I was like, oh, UCLA. Like Reilly worked at UCLA, I'll cheer for them. So therefore I'll have them go further. Or like Kansas, because I lived in Kansas, I had them going further. Same with Kansas State, so I'm a little bit ahead on that one too. But you know, things like that. That's how I pick my bracket.
That's how I used to do bracket stuff. I didn't do a bracket this year, but I'd be like, oh, I like know their sports dietitian, or like
Yeah.
they have really good funding, or like they have a good sponsor, and so I would like, oh, okay, like they have good nutrition support, so I would base it off of that. I'm a big NC State fan, obviously went to NC State, and it was really cool to hear that like they were even talking about on the broadcast that the guys were taking beet juice like the week leading up to playing in Denver, and they were doing like a lot of the nitrate stuff to make sure that they were adjusting to the altitude. And it's really cool because I don't think like if I were 10 years ago, like we'd be having that conversation at the collegiate level with college basketball. So it's really cool to see some of the nutrition strategies and implementations that people are doing to help the athletes like go be their best.
For the non-sports dietitians in the room, can you explain the science behind or just a little bit of the reasoning why beet juice is important and maybe
on a very simple level, because I don't want to bore everybody. I don't want to put you to sleep. But basically, beets are rich in nitrates, and that causes your blood vessels to widen. It's called vasodilation. So basically, when that happens, you can circulate more blood, nutrients, oxygen to the working muscles, which helps with power output, endurance, strength, performance, and all of that. So when we look at those supplements, you can do it on a small, like, daily dosing, or you can do it on like a mega dose at like about 120 minutes before a game. So my understanding is they're probably doing it like leading up to the tournament, like a small dose every single day, and then like doing a mega dose before. Beet juice tastes like dirt. I wish I loved beets. That's one of the things I do not like. And I understand that a ton of athletes don't like to eat beets too. So I would do beet smoothies a lot of the time because you can hide beets in like a blueberry smoothie. So at least trying to get that in. People take shots, of it. People take it in powder, and again, mix it with water, take it in a shot. Some people really love it. I wish I loved it, but
can all athletes kind of take advantage of that in terms of helping their performance?
All athletes can. And I also think too, like, people can. So especially with that, I don't think we all need to be taking like mega doses of beet juice every single day, but incorporating like beets and spinach and arugula, some foods that have like small amounts of nitrates in them. Beets have the most, but most people aren't eating beets every single day. So spinach and arugula, incorporating those on a daily basis can just help with like general vasodilation. And because a lot of the population like has high blood pressure, this is something that can help with that.
Just people just in general can benefit from that by adding something small to something like a smoothie in the morning, or maybe adding a little bit more colorful green to a salad in the evening or whatever it is to get that benefit. But knowing that you don't need that in order to get the benefit as far as like taking it in high doses, like an athlete maybe would benefit from.
Exactly. And I also too, I set this goal actually with a lot of athletes is like, just like you mentioned, like let's put a handful, like 1 or 2 handfuls of spinach in your smoothie every single day. And if you can taste it, like this is the deal. Like if you can taste it, we're taking it out. But nobody can taste it. So like it's staying in. So that's always something too. That's an easy way to, again, get spinach in, get nitrates in, get another serving of vegetables in, which we all probably could benefit from.
Oh yeah. I feel like we all could do that for sure. Have you ever had anybody that's like, I freaking love beets?
I've had a couple players. Like usually when I
Really?
do like work with teams, I'll have like 1 or 2 players that are like, I don't mind the taste of beets. I like beets. My mom like loves beets. Like she used to make beetroot sandwiches, and I know she listens to the podcast, so shout out mom. But she used to eat like beetroot sandwiches, and I was like, why would anybody do that? And then now as like a professional, I'm like, okay, like my mom knew what she was doing. Maybe that's why I don't like beets, because she would try to get me to eat them on my sandwich. But I feel like the minority of people like beets.
Mama Brown was ahead of the game.
Yep. But if people try it and they like it, I would incorporate it because it's good for you. All right. So, because it's your first time on the podcast, I always ask people questions at the end. They're kind of like rapid fire, but we'll chat about them. But because the podcast is called Eat More Carbs, what's your favorite carbohydrate?
Can I say a dish?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say fancy mac and cheese. I've made a cheese sauce and I'm put my type of pasta in there. I'm probably adding some type of ground meat and then like chopped tomatoes, like fresh tomatoes, the ones that taste like candy. Chef's kiss.
Yum. We always do a like build your own mac and cheese bowl when we have people over. We'll do like a buffet bar. So you exactly what you do. Like we'll do a thing of mac and cheese in the crock pot, and then you can like again, like you throw different types of cheeses in, and then you have like a pasta and it just all cooks in there, and then we lay out all these toppings, and then you just throw different proteins on, different like veggies.
I'm going to steal that next time I have people over. I feel like I always do like sliders or sandwiches or something like finger foods, but being like a fancy crock pot, build your own mac and cheese, that's so fun.
All right, so we have your favorite carb. What's your favorite pre-workout fuel, snack, meal?
I feel like I stole this from you, from the internship yet again, but snack packs. When I worked in the hospital and I shared a desk with this other dietitian, we would go to the gym together afterwards, and we had a giant Costco-sized box of the Welch's snack packs in what we called Mega Desk. And before we would go to the gym every day, we would just grab one of those and head right from the hospital to the gym.
What's your favorite post-workout? That's the next question.
Oh, smoothie for sure, hands down.
And then I'm a big shoe person, a big shoe girl over here. So what's your favorite pair of kicks?
Reilly, this is like the best question you've ever asked me. My favorite pair of kicks. Oh God, I didn't know that I was gonna have to pick a favorite today. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go with it. Okay, I was gonna say my running shoes because like that's probably what I wear the most. But I take my dog on long walks every day and I wear the Hoka running shoes. So I'm not running in those. I'm just walking in them. And my feet feel like they're on freaking clouds.
What color do you have? And what style?
Yellow. They're yellow. They're maybe called the Cloud. Knowing that you are the shoe queen, and I think of Nikes, I think of your wedding when you changed into the coolest pair of Nikes post-ceremony and you were dancing around. I was like, man, she's cool. Like, Reilly is cool.
You did too, though. You changed into Nikes, didn't you?
I was in Converse, yeah.
You were in Converse. Okay, yep.
What are your favorite kicks?
I have a pair of Jordans. I got them, they're kids' Jordans, but I got them, like, somebody had left, like, dropped them off at the outlet, and they were, like, on the sale section, and they were $15,
And you are lucky that you have small feet.
and I have baby feet, so I was like, let's go.
Oh, man, that's cool. What color are they?
They're, like, a black and gold and tan. It goes with the, like, Reilly has to be wearing something that is black at all times vibe. Well, this has been so fun. I'm so happy that we're able to come on, and you're going to be coming on every single month to chat about this type of stuff. If people want to reach out to you, if people want to contact you, what's the best way for people to reach out?
My email, which is just my first name, Jenna.Fisher, Fisher, no C, .rd@gmail.com.
Okay, perfect. I'll make sure to put it below so people can reach out to you.
It's been so fun to talk to you and catch up, reminisce, hear you share your wealth of sports knowledge, because I feel like we all can learn from that. And like you said, even if you're not an athlete, there's still things that you can pull from the sports world for your own health.